Thank you again for joining us. So we're going to get right into the presentation, and something that I like to start off with is really beginning kind of with the faculty. I've been advising physical therapy students, prospective students, physical therapy students interested in going into residency and fellowship education or pursuing additional doctoral degrees, and they always ask me the same thing, Dr. Bernardo, what should I look for in a program? What are some of the things I should consider when selecting a program? Because it's a very important decision. And I always share with them that you should always look at the faculty. Consider the faculty's experiences, how have they been developing themselves professionally, where are their areas of expertise, what are their philosophies, their personal mission statements, what are some of the things that they're very passionate about, because these individuals are going to basically help to shape the curriculum that you're being taught. In addition to that, they help to create the learning environment. And so to this day, I still consult with my DPT faculty from years ago to write letters of recommendation, to give me guidance in my career. So I really think it's important that we're starting here with the faculty so that you can learn more about us as you make your decision about a DPT program. Before I continue though, I want to make sure that I share that if you have questions during the presentation, there'll be some natural pauses for us to stop and answer your questions. But also, if you happen to have a burning question as we're going through this, please enter it into the live chat, and we have faculty who are there to basically answer the questions in real time. So feel free to ask away. In preparation for this presentation, I've asked faculty to share a little bit about themselves and kind of, as it relates to physical therapy education. And so I'm the first one up the bat. I'm the founding program director of this DPT program. And I've been in physical therapy education for 9 years. I've been a physical therapist for 15. I graduated my DPT degree from Indiana University many years ago. And when I came out of my program, I had a great experience. I was part of a charter DPT class, so I understand the challenges of being part of a charter class. And I've also been involved on the academic side of being part of a program that's starting up. So I understand kind of both sides. And when I graduated with my DPT degree, it was a fantastic experience for me to go into clinical practice. But soon after starting my clinical practice, I recognized that there were some areas that hadn't yet fully developed while I was in my DPT program. And those components really related to clinical reasoning. My patients were getting better, but I really wasn't sure why they were getting better, and that was concerning for me. And I thought, as I went through different areas of clinical practice, I practiced in outpatient neuro, inpatient neuro, outpatient ortho, acute care, home health. And as I did travel work, I recognized that I wasn't the only physical therapist that was kind of struggling in the clinical reasoning realm, and that was probably something I needed to further develop in DPT education. And so I decided to do something about it, and I went back to school, and I did an orthopedic residency program, a fellowship program at Kaiser Permanente, which is the oldest residency fellowship program in the United States. And I had some world-renowned clinicians there to mentor and coach me along my reasoning process and my patient interactions. And something really remarkable happened. I started to see my patients get better faster. I understood why they were getting better. And it was really a great experience for me to develop as a clinician, because I felt very confident when someone came in and they had an issue for me to be able to actually collaborate with them to help them get better. And so I was kind of it was my personal mission, I felt, to kind of share this experience and some of these important lessons that I learned in residency training into DPT education. So clinical reasoning is kind of my area that I've been developing over many years. And something that I thought that was very important was making sure that physical therapists, when they graduate from their DPT programs, that they're competent day one, that you invested a lot of money, a lot of time and energy into getting your DPT degree. At bare minimum, you should be competent. So you're going to see competent in a few different areas, or you might hear me mention that because that's very important to me.
My name is Andrea Kessler, and I'm the Director of Clinical Education. And it's wonderful to be here with you tonight. It's wonderful to be with the faculty. I am incredibly passionate about clinical education. If you ever want to have a conversation about clinical education, I am free to talk about it all day. But I warn you, I will go on. And I think the faculty will attest to that. But I'm passionate about clinical education because I think that's where the rubber meets the road for all students. That's where you are able to prove your skills and also really develop an awareness of how powerful your skills are. in patient care. All the faculty who are here tonight, all the faculty are part of clinical education and are passionate about clinical education and preparing our students. So I am grateful to be here tonight, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about clinical education as the program goes on.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Edgar Garavito, and I'm also happy to be here with all you tonight. So I'm based out on the East Coast right now, and Dr. Varnado, actually, since she spoke so highly about herself, and I agree about that, she was one of my mentors as well, and we've met several years ago, and that's kind of how I ended up here. I've been a physical therapist for 7 years, practiced mostly in acute care out here in Duke Hospital, but I got into education about 5 years ago, starting with a Master's in Science program, and that's when I really developed kind of this keen attitude towards education and watching students grow. And I really, one of my favorite things to see is when students really grasp a topic or a subject and they truly understand and they can master it and then take that subject or that topic and apply it to their patient care. I love seeing when students just kind of, that light bulb just turns on. As a young educator, I always share with my faculty and also with some of my colleagues that for me personally, it's just really important to stay humble. And the reason I shared that with you is because we as educators, whether we're in the associate pathway or just junior educators, we need to stay humble because we need to understand that we learn a lot from our students as well. I love learning from students. I love when they come with new topics, new subjects, and we don't know everything. We know a lot about a lot of things, but learning from our students just helps us grow and helps you grow as future clinicians as well. So it's just very important to listen to all of you and all your concerns and all your ideas, and watching every single student just flourish to, as Dr. Varnado commented, a competent physical therapist. The day you walk out, the first day on your position, is very exciting for me.
Thank you, Dr. Garavito.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shannon Richardson. I'm also a physical therapist with orthopedic background. Like a lot of the other people here, I am a graduate of the Kaiser Permanente orthopedic residency program. That's where my background is. Teaching has been something that I've just always kind of been drawn to. In a lot of different ways. Everyone in my family has actually ended up being a teacher from kind of roundabout paths, but we've all kind of ended up in the educational realm. I started teaching actually when I look back at it in school. Dr. Varnado was a faculty member when I was a student, and I remember she said to us that we need to practice this thing outside of school. There's a lot of people that didn't want to practice skills and review content and information, and we spent a lot of money to go to school, and I thought, I can't put in a little bit of extra time to do this thing that is going to be my chosen career for the rest of my life. So it's something I'm passionate about. And we started developing a study group where we would meet outside on breaks, before class, after class. It was actually kind of an exclusive thing. And we would try to teach each other content. You'd have to write your own lectures and try to create quizzes and information, even cases for one another. And that just kind of blossomed after graduation. Continued to work doing community speaking at just, say it's a running club or a running group, and then I became an adjunct faculty member, and then became a residency faculty at the local hospital chain here in Arizona, Honor Health, where I've been teaching other residents that have already become physical therapists, some more advanced content, and now to kind of where I am today. So teaching is something I'm really passionate about, that I really connect, I feel, with students, because I wasn't the top student in my class. I kind of had to struggle and really digest content, and I feel that I have more appreciation for the learning process as a result of that.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson.
Hi, I'm Diane Risley. I'm a professor in the program. My training, I've been a physical therapist for a long time, and have been board certified in neurologic physical therapy for a long time, and now I'm emeritus. My education really set me up to be a researcher, and so, as well as being an educator. But I was trained to do physical therapy research, and I wanted to do that because I think it's so important to bring research to the clinic and have our clinicians do the research. Research or scholarship is important because it tells us what works and what doesn't work, and gives us evidence as to what we should be doing in the clinic. And we don't have enough of that, especially in certain areas. And we need more. And part of it is so that our patients get better faster. And part of it is so that we can show physicians and the community that physical therapy really is where our patients need to be. And so that's really where I've been passionate about. I have been in physical therapy education for 16 years. And I'll talk more about research in a few slides.
Thank you, Dr. Risley.
Hi, I'm Ann Mejia Downs. Everybody calls me Annie. And you can see from my background, I started out as a cardiovascular and pulmonary physical therapist, and then went toward public health and health promotion and wellness. So those are the areas that I've taught in my many years of PT education. And I would have to say that my favorite part of teaching in all these years is really building relationships with students, because you know, you realize when you're up there teaching students that in less than 3 years, you will be PT colleagues of mine. And so I really enjoy developing relationships with students who become my colleagues. And in fact, I still practice at Indiana University Health, and my current supervisor is a former student who went back to get her specialization in cardiovascular and pulmonary, and she's now my supervisor. So you never know where your students are going to end up. And I really do enjoy following their professional track and see where they end up practicing.
Thank you, Dr. Mejia Downs. Dr. Monica Ross wasn't able to join us tonight, but Dr. Ross received her DPT degree from Western University. She then went on to complete a neurologic residency program at A.T. Still University in Mesa, Arizona. She's a board certified neurological specialist, and she will be assisting with being the track lead for our neurological track at College of St. Mary.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Samu, and I received my DPT from Midwestern University as well. I've been practicing for about 7 years. My training is in orthopedic. I also completed the Kaiser orthopedic residency, which was very challenging, but well worth it. And I'm also board certified in orthopedic clinical, board certified orthopedic clinical specialist. So majority of my experience has been in orthopedic. I've done some adjunct teaching, which has been a great learning experience. And one of the things that I'm really inspired about in PT education is just being able to work with so many people from so many backgrounds, from faculty to students. And I truly believe this blended learning model definitely helps facilitate that a little bit more. And that's going to help bring more diversity into the field of physical therapy. So we are all very excited about that, and we're excited to have you here tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hello, my name is Heather Cahoot. My background is actually in medical practice, but I've also worked in nursing, some PT, OT, and public health. And during my health professional practice, I've had clinical and academic teaching experience as well. And I've really joined College of St. Mary for two main reasons. One, because the university's mission to care for people with health-related illnesses, limited economic resources, and educational opportunities. This message really speaks to me. And having grown up in an underserved area myself, I am excited to be able to deliver education directly to the students in the underserved areas who are passionate about staying and practicing in those areas where they currently live. And two, because I'm impressed by the passion and motivation of this experienced DPT faculty team. With my diverse health professional and medical background, I find the vision of this physical therapy program to prepare compassionate and interprofessional healthcare leaders as inspiring. I'll be teaching pathophysiology, pharmacology, healthcare systems delivery, health informatics, and telehealth.
Thank you, Dr. Hoot.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kyra Gauze, and I'm the administrative assistant for the DPT program, and I am actually on campus. So I am here at the College of St. Mary. I've been here for about 4 years, and I will be your eyes and ears on campus, your connection on the campus. You, along with all the faculty, are away. So I'll be your source, your resource. So welcome to the live session.
Thank you so much, Kyra. So now that you've met the faculty, we're going to cover these learning objectives. And like I said, if you have questions during the presentation, we'll have some pauses in between, and also feel free to send your live questions through the chat, and we'll be answering those questions. So we want to cover the mission statement of the College of St. Mary DPT program, the features of the blended curriculum. I get that question a lot. What does blended mean? What are some of the unique features about this particular blended program? Because there are other models out there, but there's some specific factors or characteristics about this program that are different. What are the required number of on-site visits to campus, given that it's a blended model? Who's an ideal candidate? The length of the program, the cost, and also where we are in the accreditation process. So the mission statement for the College of St. Mary DPT program is to offer a blended curriculum to prepare competent, compassionate, and professional physical therapists who demonstrate excellence in physical therapy practice to diverse and medically underserved communities. The program prepares graduates to be lifelong learners and healthcare leaders in accordance with the values of the College of St. Mary as inspired by the Sisters of Mercy, which include excellence, service, dignity, compassion, inclusivity, and integrity. This mission statement took several months to develop, and partly because we wanted to make sure that we covered what the professional for today and tomorrow would need. Right now, as you can see with COVID, there are certain groups of the population that are being devastated by this virus. And that's because there are some health inequities within our society. And so we are hoping that with this program, not only are we developing compassionate and competent physical therapists, but that we're also developing physical therapists who can work with a diverse group of patients, those from rural communities, individuals from urban communities that may be a bit more densely packed, that may have limited access to quality care. In addition to that, really helping to develop physical therapy leaders, individuals who will go out and advocate for health equity within the population. So the blended curriculum, what does that actually mean? It's a combination of really some online time in addition to having face-to-face time. So with the online component of the blended model, that's where I believe that students can really take advantage of their own personal learning experiences, their own personal learning strengths, and use it to their best benefit. So let's say, for instance, if we have information that is presented asynchronously, meaning that it's pre-recorded. If you're a morning person like me, you can get up and watch the videos and go through your content at a time that's most convenient for you. I am not an evening person, so for me to learn something in the evening is not beneficial for my learning style or for just how I typically learn information. We will also have opportunities to meet with you all online synchronously. So that means we're all on at the same time. And this will give us an opportunity to check in with you, do a deeper dive into some of the content that we've covered, have discussions, engage in some reflection time, just to make sure that you really understand how to apply the information and what's most relevant to really help you, really internalize the information and to be able to use it. Now with the hands-on skills, because the physical therapy is basically, it's a physical profession, you have to learn hands-on skills. That's why we're coming to Omaha, Nebraska to learn those face-to-face sessions. So during that time, we'll be working with students, coaching and mentoring them through the material, making sure they understand how to perform certain assessments and interventions, also running students through simulations so that you understand how to apply the information. It's not enough just to make sure that you can do certain skills, but something that's very important to kind of get towards that competency component is, can you do this in a setting which is more is similar to what you would do out in clinical practice. So we'll have some opportunities for you to practice face-to-face. In addition to that, we're going to be having our students record themselves performing skills asynchronously. So you'll be able to send recordings of yourself to your peers, to your faculty, so that we can provide you feedback where you are located. In addition to that, we'll have simulations that are digital. So not only will you be able to go through your skills, in person when we do our live simulations, but we'll also have some digital simulations to help you understand how to apply the information. So this is basically the blended curriculum, the features of it, some online, face-to-face, and then we'll be nicely threading those together to make sure you understand how to use the information, apply it to be competent when you're out in clinical practice. So let's go through some of the features of the DPT program. So this is a blended model. So there are other blended programs that are out there. Well, some of the programs that are blended, the faculty have to live in the state. One of the unique things about this program is our faculty are all remote. So we're all over the country in different time zones. And so why is that important for a student? Well, typically in a program where the faculty have to move to the location, the program is basically, you know, you can only get faculty who are willing to come to your location. With this program, we were able to recruit the best and brightest from around the country to help us develop this program and to educate our physical therapists. So that's something I think is pretty unique. The other component for students is that there is no relocation cost. Because you can live where you currently are. When I was a physical therapy student, I was in Illinois living in Chicago, and I had to relocate to Indiana to attend school. And that's additional cost that you have to take out for student loans. So that's something to think about when you're selecting a DPT program. Something else that I think is pretty unique about this program is the course designs and the fact that we're all very learner-centered, meaning that we're thinking about the end in mind. Where do we want our learners to be? That mission statement, being competent, compassionate, working with a diverse group of patients, being healthcare leaders. If that's the type of physical therapist that we want to help develop, then as we're designing our courses, that's what we're keeping in mind. So our objectives we're trying to be very clear with our learning objectives, also making sure that our assessments are appropriate to make sure that we help you get to where you need to be at the end. And we're really thinking about what are some of the best practices for teaching and learning, so that our students have a very good opportunity to not only learn in the DPT program, have a great learning experience, connect well with their faculty, with their classmates, really helping to build community, and also really helping to shape the type of therapist that you develop into out in clinical practice. This program does not require GRE. So if that's been something that's been a hindrance, you don't have that hurdle in this program. Now, as it relates to the faculty, greater than 50% of our faculty are board certified specialists and or residency and fellowship trained. Now, why is that important? Less than 1% of physical therapists currently practicing have gone on to do residency and fellowship training. And that also includes individuals who may not have had an opportunity to get board certified. So we have faculty that are very qualified that have demonstrated that they have the skills to be effective in patient management. And this is important for students because these are individuals who are helping to shape and design your curriculum. My students are further ahead than I was when I came out of my DPT program, because we were able to use some of the information that I shared in my residency and fellowship program, not so much a lot of the skills, but more of the clinical reasoning aspect. So they were able to develop a lot faster. So that's something to consider. The other component is that we have an interdisciplinary team. So we have representation from physical therapy, occupational therapy, and also a physician assistant, Dr. Cahote. Dr. Andrea Kessler is a physical therapist and an occupational therapist. So we thought it was important to have an interdisciplinary approach to our faculty, and also to think about where do we want our students to be once they leave the classroom. In clinical practice, you're working on a team. You have to understand how to collaborate with your team to best serve your patients. So we thought it would be great to begin that process in the DPT program. Any questions before we move on to the next, the clinical education slides? Whoopsies. I'm scrolling through. Any questions? Okay, Dr. Kessler, you're up.
Dr. Varnado.
Oh, yes.
No, sorry, that's me. I just wanted to add on something that's very important that you
Sure.
kind of touched base on. Remember that also the relocation part, since you don't have to relocate, you not only don't have to pay for relocation costs, but you potentially will still have all of the support at home that you wouldn't have if you relocate like most of us have. Dr. Varnado relocated from Chicago to Indiana alone, right? So you don't have to move to a different state all by yourself with no support system and create one. You might still be able to stay with your family and have all that support at home, which is very important for your learning and for your mental health as well.
And Dr. Varnado, I do have a question, piggybacking off being in our own respective states.
Yes.
This process, how can we get resources for our academics with everyone being such a diverse time zones? During our academics, would we be able to contact each respective professors at any time of the day or the evening for any resources that's needed?
Absolutely. We're going to have our hours posted. So the thing is, of course, we're trying to be respectful of students and their time zones as well as faculty. So we'll basically post hours when we're most accessible. Also sending emails. Typically, we're checking emails pretty frequently. So there'll be multiple ways for you to reach out to faculty via phone, through the learning management system, through email. So we have multiple modes.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Any others? Dr. Kessler, you're up.
Okay, wonderful. So now we get to talk about clinical education, and clinical education is about 1/3 of your curriculum. So it's a big part of your success in your graduation from this program. So we have built in what we call integrated clinical experiences, which occur during semester 3 and 4. So you have integrated clinical experience 1 and 2. And those are conducted with the faculty. So while you come for your on-site intensive during weeks 5 and 15 to Omaha, you will actually be part of an integrated clinical experience while your faculty are serving as your clinical instructor, which is a wonderful opportunity for you to practice your skills, but also a great chance for them to see how well you're developing and processing the information that you've learned throughout your time in the didactic preparation. The integrated clinical experiences are conducted with pop-up clinics that we're utilizing throughout the Omaha region. So we've connected with community partners such as nursing homes, elementary schools. We're connecting with community partners so that you can go to areas of need that we can benefit their health and well-being as well as your experience. So we're really excited about the integrated clinical experiences, and Dr. Mejia Downs will talk about that a little bit more too in a couple slides. The other aspect of clinical education is the full-time clinical experiences. They occur during semester 7 and 8, so the final 2 semesters of the program. They're 16 weeks long, and the requirement is that students experience a setting in the community. That could be an outpatient setting, that could be a pediatric school-based setting, home health, and then we also require a medically complex setting. So that could be acute care in a hospital, ICU. That could be a nursing home. It could be inpatient rehab. There's a lot of options there. Now, where can you go to complete clinical experiences? I know that's a big question for everyone. And rest assured that your options are wide open. So you can stay locally, or we can place you anywhere in the United States. So I've worked closely with our clinical partners the past 1.5 years to develop a relationship that our students have options to multiple hundreds of sites. So it's exciting. We've also really worked closely with establishing quality clinical experiences, which is really important. That you go to a clinical experience, you're paying, as Dr. Garavito mentioned, there's tuition that's part of the thought of you want a quality clinical experience. So it's going to be important that we find you a place that's going to give you the support and development and the skills so that you're successful coming out. That's the most important thing to us. And if you have any questions towards the end about this, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kessler. Is there one other? There's one state that we will not be placing students. That's California. Unfortunately, they're not part of the State Reciprocity Act, so unfortunately, we can't place you there.
Yes, I apologize. California is the only place we can't place students.
So I will be teaching the research track, and we have 4 courses. And as I said previously, research is really important to me because it helps us know what works and what doesn't work in physical therapy and helps us learn new ideas. And so we're going to spend this time talking about how to apply evidence. So you'll learn how to appraise evidence and then how to apply it to clinical practice. The use of evidence-based practice will be repeated in the clinical courses as well. And then at the end, we have 2 courses, a comprehensive case analysis of complex patients. And during that, we do 2 things. You'll do a research project, which may be a systematic review, it may be research, it may be something else, and you'll present that during one of those. And then you'll do a capstone, which is a case report of a patient that you've actually seen during one of your clinical experiences. So we really try to thread research or evidence-based practice throughout the curriculum.
Okay, so another unique component of our program is the way that we are going to thread health promotion throughout the curriculum. So you can see we have several courses where you will use your health promotion tools, psychosocial aspects and principles of education and communication. We will, you'll know how to educate patients about different health promotion issues. And then as Dr. Kessler said, your integrated clinical experiences, you will use your health promotion tools there. And in addition, I put here for you the definition of social determinants of health, the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, work, and age. And you'll be hearing about these social determinants in your clinical courses as well, because these determinants of health are issues and things that will impact an individual patient. And so in order to really individualize our management of patients, we need to be aware of their social determinants and the resources that they have or that they lack. So you will see health promotion threaded through the whole curriculum. And as you can see now in the COVID-19 era, we're understanding more about how social determinants of health affect how people are impacted by COVID and whether or not they have the resources to be able to shelter in place as is recommended. So you will see underlying issues of social determinants of health all throughout the curriculum. And I'd be glad to talk with you more about health promotion and how we integrate that. Thanks.
Thank you. So in addition to the unique features that we've just talked about, we have our on-site campus visits. So for our learners who are remote and faculty, we're all going to be coming to campus 6 times per year, so twice per semester. This will typically occur at weeks 5 and week 15. When our students come to campus, we are going to encourage them to show up on a Sunday so that they're there for class on that Monday. And then the goal is for everyone to be flying out that following Saturday. So the plan is typically for the on-site to be 1 week. Now, of course, with COVID, we may have to make some adjustments to this, but this is the plan so far. The place that we have secured for our learning experience is the Rothstein Arena. It's located approximately 3 miles away from the main campus at College of St. Mary. It's a beautiful facility, 11,000 square feet of space for us to spread out, practice techniques, use equipment, and really have a great learning experience. In addition to that, there's a nearby hotel, so it's within walking distance. We try to make sure that this was very convenient for students flying in from out of state. And there are restaurants that are within walking distance. Who's the ideal candidate for this program? If you have very strong cognitive and communication skills, because most of what we're doing is communicating online, and if you're technologically savvy, of course, that will definitely be a benefit to you. So having a good internet connection, making sure that you feel comfortable communicating via online platforms would be very helpful. Being a self-directed learner, so we're not meeting face-to-face and we're not all the time, not every day. And so it's very important to have some internal motivation as you're going through your DPT program. The faculty are definitely there to help mentor and coach you, but as something that I had to learn as a distance learner, I did my Doctor of Health Science degree through a blended program. And I had to set up a schedule, be very intentional about my study time, being very protective of my time so that I can make sure I got through my required readings so I could perform well in my assessments. And that was something that I believe that with this blended model within a DPT program, it's something that's important for learners to understand, that you have to be self-directed. If you're not able to move with our current situation, this is, unfortunately, we didn't design this program for COVID, but it definitely is helpful that it's a blended program so you don't have to pick up and move when you can't. The other thing is, if you're, for any other reasons, if you're not able to leave for family reasons or what have you, this would be a great option for you. If you're interested in serving others, if you listen to the mission statement of the program, also you go on the website at College of St. Mary, it is definitely very focused towards serving others. And so if you're interested in making sure that you're giving back and understanding how to best connect with your community, this would be a fantastic program for you. The length of the program is 31 months. It's 2 years didactic, as Dr. Kessler mentioned. So the first 2 years, you're going to cover your human anatomy, gross anatomy, neuroscience, your clinical courses. And then once you're done with all of your, with most majority of your didactic material, then you're going to go out into the clinical, go out into your clinical. So you have 2 weeks, two 16-week rotations, which are about 8 months long for you to complete your clinical rotations. The total cost for the program for the 2020 cohort is $95,000. Now, this question we get a lot about the candidacy process or the accreditation process. It's a very lengthy process. We started this process back in January of 2018. And so just to kind of give you an update on where we are right now, we submitted our application for candidacy. And the candidacy component, having candidacy status, is necessary for you to actually be able to accept students into your program. And so we submitted our application for candidacy in December. We had a site team come to Omaha to meet with faculty, interview faculty and staff. They came through and did walkthroughs through our facilities to inspect everything, just to make sure that we were ready to go. And they do this to make sure that students' investments are being protected if they're deciding to sign up with College of St. Mary before they grant us candidacy status. And so it's very important that, it was very important to have them come and review the program. The report that we got back from the candidacy visit was very positive. So we submitted that. That went to our accrediting body, CAPD, the Commission on Accreditation in Physical Therapy Education, and they're meeting next week to make a decision about our program. They will be notifying us officially in mid-May, and our plan is to begin our first cohort June 1st, 2020. Now that is like one of the first steps for the accreditation process. Once we're granted candidacy, we have to submit another application called the self-study, and that'll take place in about 1.5 years from now. Within that time, they're going to come back and check to make sure, are we doing what we stated in our application for candidacy? How are the students doing, the faculty, the curriculum, just to make sure that we're on par to then move forward with receiving full accreditation. They're going to come and do another visit, meet with faculty and students and staff, and then they will be meeting in October of 2022 to make a decision about our program getting initial accreditation status. They will notify us mid-November, and our students are going to be graduating mid-December 2022. They'll be eligible to sit for the national board exam in January of 2023. So this is kind of the process. Now, something good to know is that we did speak with CAPD to find out, what are the odds, how did things work out as far as programs that make it through candidacy status. And we were notified that there's a 95 to 99% chance that once you've gotten candidacy that you'll go on to get the initial accreditation. So those are pretty good odds. And then 100% chance of getting through if you correct whatever they told you to correct if you didn't make it through the first time through the appeals process. So the idea for CAPD is they want to make sure that students' investments are protected and that you have a great learning experience and that we're meeting the accreditation standards. The good news is I've been through this process. Many of the senior faculty have gone through this process of this candidacy process, the initial accreditation, so it's a pretty straightforward process. If you were interested in applying, Rachel Etter, who's on the call, is our contact person for enrollment. So feel free to reach out to her at retter@csm.edu.